I'm Dr. Sean Bradley, and welcome to the Foundations of Sinmoo. Today what we're going to talk about is the character Shin. The first character in Sinmoo Hapkido, the first character in Sinmoo. And it's an interesting one because it's interpreted in a number of different ways, and it's changed throughout the history of Sinmoo Hapkido and Sinmoo itself. So the first two characters I have here are the Chinese characters, or the Han-Jae characters in Korean. And the first one is the one that's used currently. It's the one that is drawn from the book, one of the foundation philosophical texts that Dojunim uses, the Samuel Shingo. And the other one is the more common character that means Shin, and this is the one that you'll see throughout Chinese medicine, in Taoist texts. And the bottom here is the Korean Hangul word Shin. So the first part that gets confusing is how do you Romanize it? How do you take it from Korean and make it into English? And it's usually done, the most common modern Romanization uses S-I-N. So S-I-N is what you'll see most commonly. Some people write it S-H-I-N. That can work, but it's not really the typical Romanization that is used. The pronunciation, though, is something in between those two. There's not an exact Romanization or an exact pronunciation that we have in the English language. So it's Shin. So it's something in between S-I-N and S-H-I-N. So how it's written in Sinmoo Hapkido or in Sinmoo is S-I-N. Now, the characters that are used and why they're different ones is really to clarify the use, to clarify how we're using it in Sinmoo Hapkido. In the philosophy Sinmoo. So this one here is the one that's most commonly used, and in Chinese it's pronounced Shen, and it can be used to describe spirit, ghost, can refer to like godlike, or spirit or demon-like. It can also just refer to higher mind. And this character has all of those meanings within it, and in different contexts, different texts throughout history. The word means that in depending on what the text is. This character doesn't typically have that. It doesn't have all those extra meanings, and it really just means higher mind or higher spirit. And that's one of the main reasons that Dojunim chose that word to represent Sinmoo in his use of it. It's not a common word. It's not really not used at all except in this context. You'll see it in a few classical Chinese texts, but it's very rare, and it's not very common at all. You can also see it without this line on top, and again it's the same word, and actually the text that Dojunim uses, it doesn't have that line. But those of you who have Sinmoo Hapkido certificates, Dan ranking certificates, pre about 2000, 2002, the Korea Sinmoo Hapkido Association used this character, and the World Sinmoo Hapkido Association certificates use this character. So there's a slight difference that you'll notice if you look at your own certificates. This is how it's written in Korean, and again, there's no confusion there. It's just it's pretty straightforward. It's a written language, or it's a phonetic language. So you just basically look at the strokes and you can sound it out. So the meaning that we use in Sinmoo is really just higher mind or higher spirit, and it's a change in perception of when you reach a certain level in practicing martial arts or practicing meditation and using the skills that you learn in the art to reach a higher understanding of the art itself and of yourself personally. And there's nothing mystical about this, there's nothing magical. It's simply like any field. When you truly understand the roots of what you're doing, when you truly understand the practice of what you're doing, you look at it from a different perspective. You understand it differently, you do it differently, and you practice it differently. And this is why this character is used. In the concept of Sinmoo, it's really reaching that higher state of whatever it is you're practicing. In the concept of Sinmoo Hapkido, it's taking your Hapkido to that higher level to be able to do it better, to make it yours personally, to reach a higher understanding and a higher practice of the style and of the art. So this is the character Shin. can be pretty complicated when you start comparing these characters. When you look into the Chinese medicine or Korean medicine texts, this is what you'll see most often, and that word can really get complicated. But for the sake of what we're talking about here, it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Thanks again for tuning in. Next time we'll talk about Mu in Sinmoo Hapkido, or in Sinmoo. We'll talk about the Mu character and discuss that a little bit more. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you all next time.